growing up, I used to be part of those like black kids who would make fun of the African kids.
Yeah.
And as I've gotten older and as it's become more accepting in like as African culture has gotten more accepting in the whole overall diaspora of things, like I'm embracing it more. Like I did that ancestry.com and like now that I know I'm like part Nigerian, part from the Congo and shit like that, like I hope one day to go to those areas and learn about it. Like I want to get in touch. And this was something that I used to like shy away from. I was like, nah, I'm not them. And I think that's just something that yeah, that is good.
No, I hear what you're saying.
But yeah. And same with Puerto Rican culture. I never used to say I was Puerto Rican when I was younger.
Yeah.
Growing up in the hood, like you get made fun of you as the Spanish kid.
Why do we embrace our roots as we get older?
Get more mature.
You get a little less insecure. Not fully, but a little less insecure.
So as you're saying, like as a kid, our goal is to fit in wherever we can.
Yes.
And as we get older, we feel less of a need to fit into the groups that are around us. And because of that, we can start accepting who we are and where we are from.
Also, your identity is ascribed to you when you're younger. Like if you're like a black kid growing up in New York, it's like, yeah, you're a black kid. This is who you are.
You dress like Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
It never happens when you're older. You never tap back into it at all.
Bro, he's going full circle. Go
Chill, fam. Chill. Why you talking like
All that full circle. What do you mean full circle? Shit.
I was with a 97 and me. You know, he's throwing it back. But like when you're a kid,
irony-
it's ascribed to you and you're just told what you are. And then as you get older, you're like, oh, I can be other things. I can look at other aspects of my
And
identity.
real quick, just on that moment, there is this biological need to fit in,
Yes.
right? Because those people that stand out end up either getting killed or leading. And it's a real tricky, I mean, like the scale right there is dangerous.
Yeah.
If it works out, great, you're leading us. If it doesn't, you're dead. So a lot of people probably try to fit in the best that they possibly can. And I guess for whatever reason, as we get older, we have more confidence that we'll be accepted regardless.
For me, I know my personal experience, the irony of trying to fit in and like shy away from my culture because I wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
The irony is when I embraced my roots, I got more grounded and then I had much more confidence with everybody else. And then I just naturally fit in isn't necessarily the word like blend in, but like I was comfortable in my environment naturally.
Yeah.
So that's the irony is when you embrace your roots, you're usually much better off.
Yeah, I always felt bad for the kids that were in the middle of like the identity and like cultural rift.
Yeah.
Like I had a buddy growing up who was like African, moved here, was like trying to fit in with like black American kids, but didn't fit in.
relate.
That's
Didn't
tough,
fit in
though.
with like the African like immigrant kids, didn't fit in and like didn't fit in with the white kids. Like he was really like lost and like went off the rails and kind of fucked
It
his life
fucks
up.
you, man. It fucks you.
It could fuck you, or it could give you a massive advantage if you can get past it.
Yeah, if you can overcome and be confident in who your roots are, and not like sort of suppress what you actually feel or what you actually identify as or what you actually look like, all that shit.
Yeah, you can kind of get molded into who you are at a much younger age.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to me, is that like I was just around so many different groups and my parents didn't have this one strong unified identity. You know, like my mom was an immigrant, obviously, and my dad's like this New Yorker, but like my dad is pushing away from his family and my mom is pushing away from her family. So we're all kind of finding ourselves together. It was like my mom's finding her identity in America at the same time as she's like raising a kid, and like my dad's finding his identity away from like what his parents are. So like we're all figuring out what it is to be us. So I was never ascribed an identity, and it makes it tricky because you're not given the playbook. You know, the great thing about religion is you have a playbook.
Right. This
Right?
is this is where we're coming from. This is where we're going.
I think it's why so many people, when they have kids, they get back into religion because they're like, yo, can I just give a downloadable version of how to be a human being to my child so they can be okay?
Yeah.
Like all my friends that have kids all of a sudden are like, well, yeah, I'll just raise them Jewish, or I'll raise them Catholic, I'll raise them. And I think what it is, it's a security blanket. It's like, how will I know that they'll be okay when I'm not there given a situation? And I wasn't given any of that. And I was probably like, a little bit, I probably acted out a little bit more because I was trying to find the boundaries because I wasn't given any.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was a little wild kid and like class clown, etc. But I was probably just trying to go, what can I say? What can I not say? What can I get away with, etc. Because nobody was giving me that at home. But I think it actually worked out for me.
And with that lack of structure, though, some people fall off the rails.
Exactly. And low key, maybe that really was rough for my bro. Maybe my brother needed a little bit more structure. and maybe I thrived in not having it. And I don't blame my parents in any way, because if it worked out okay with me, why would they change?
It's like hitting your kid versus not hitting your kid. You can
one of them might need to get hit, real talk.
and one might be better generally, but every kid is different.
Yeah.
That's
And
legit.
I would say one difference, I don't want to say harder or easier because I don't know your life, but like if you're a minority, you can't blend in anywhere. Like you stood out in school because you went to public school, so you're one of the
But
few white
I had
people.
the advantage of being able to
Within
kinda, like,
larger society,
silently blend in.
You're just a guy. If you are like an Indian in Texas, a black guy most anywhere in America, it's like it's hard for you to blend in. You are always something different. And also about the playbook, if you're an immigrant kid, sometimes that playbook only works at home.
Yo, that's true. That's a very good point, especially with the playbook if it's cultural.
Yeah.
And that's why people will find like that comfort at home, you know, or at least within the community. And I would say like maybe a little bit different my upbringing than most is that like I grew up in pretty like diverse environments. So like, and I think the advantage was like none of us really felt at home.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just like when we're all hanging out with each other, we didn't really know. It's like, yo, what are the rules at Schultz's house?
Huh.
Well, I don't know. Like,
I don't even know the rules of my
I
own
don't know
shit.
the rules. Yeah, it's like I remember once my boy Carlos was like I can't do sleepovers. I was like, why not? He was like, my parents just think that's gay or whatever.
Bro, my parents feel the same way.
They wouldn't allow it.
I literally, the first time I told my mom, I was like, yo, can I sleep over at my friend's house? She goes, why?
Yep.
I was like, I don't know. She goes, what's the point? I was like, it's fun. She goes,
Yeah, hang out
"No."
all night. It's the best time.
It's the best
She
time.
goes, no, it's stupid. Just sleep in your own bed. Like,
Yeah.
like, she didn't understand. Like
Yeah.
it made no sense. She was like, no, it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the same thing with Carlos. Like literally his parents, and then I think once it was like a big slumber party, and it was enough of us to like stop the gay. I guess like it wasn't just like a one sleepover,
Full orgy.
full orgy. And I swear
Double
that
jeopardy.
night somebody shot somebody else outside my apartment.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and like Carlos had to like tell his mom, and then she was like, "See, this is why we don't have no fucking sleepover," you know. But yeah, that's the thing. Like we were all sort of figuring it out together, and I don't know. Maybe we bonded in a bit of a different way because of that. You know, like maybe we weren't bonding based on like customs, if you will. You know, we were bonding based on
The lack thereof.
the lack thereof, and like really kind of creating these friendships because we wanted to.
And New York is like
Does that make sense?
New York. There is no like identity that's kind of ubiquitous when you're outside. You're all kind of
Yeah.
in a different environment. Everybody has their identity at home, and then the identity of New York is not suburban Texas white thing. It's like it's one. I think Manhattan in particular is the only true melting pot in America.
Bro, you know what I just realized? You're 100% right about that. Because it's a melting pot in that literally we're all bleeding into one another.
Yeah.
You know, like the cultures are all bleeding. It's not like LA where it's like separate their little pockets.
Yeah.
Like we're forced to bleed in. But you know something interesting when you were saying that, I just got this idea like, and I forgot that shit.
It was gonna be a banger though. I could tell. I could tell it was gonna be a banger, yo.
Nah, but until you remember though, like I tell you about my story, it's like I grew up in a hood in Far Rock, and then it wasn't until I went to the high school in Manhattan where like I got exposed to rich white kids and hood kids and smart kids. Like it was just a whole mix of things, and that's where my life changed. Because before I just knew one way. And it wasn't until I went to Manhattan, saw all these different types of people, I was like, oh shit, I don't have to be this way.
Being in Manhattan is like traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
traveling. You're just right there, but it's like you're going to see all these different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably why people explore their identity when they get older. It's just that, but their progression's a lot slower because they're not in New York. You know what I mean? Like if you grew up in like, I don't know, Cleveland, even like Orlando's pretty transient, but if you grew up in like a really homogenous place, like you don't recognize there's other ways to live and there's other people, and you just learn it through exposure until maybe like you're 25, you're 30, you have kids, you have to put your kids in school, like those types of like transitional life events that then expose you to other ways of life.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, you don't have the same pressure to be a certain way, and there is that kind of freedom to be self. Like there is a free, because we were all so different. We were allowed to kind of figure out what we were,
Yeah.
and we did shame the fuck out of each other. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like the shame wasn't built on a cultural standard because not a lot of us had them. I've realized like in my life, and I think that this is probably true right now as we have this conversation, as diverse as my friend group has been, there has been one thing that has been consistent with the people that are very close to me. Outsiders. Outsiders.
Yeah.
Everybody that I tend to collect is in some way an outsider and is normal, if you will, I'm using that word, but like, fit in, what did you use? The blend in as I am and look. Culturally, I'm a bit of an outsider.
Yeah.
Even within like, where I existed in
The
New
lack
York.
of culture kind of makes you an outsider.
Real talk, right? And it's like, but like everybody was a little bit of an outsider, and everybody was kind of like, even Al, your experience is very different than the average person. You're even very different than what somebody would look at you, especially the way that you're dressed, right? And I think, Mark, I think the expectation when you see you is not the person that you actually are. Like I think
It's just sex god. People think that.
exactly, and you as well, right? When you think of, I think of all my friends, everybody was a little outsider. Like a lot of like immigrant parents, like a lot of, and it was just like all of us trying to figure out where we are and who we were in America.
Yeah.
And we weren't really given rules.
No.
And it's like, it was kind of cool, man. It was like, I know we weren't the first generation to just decide who we were in America, but in a way we were.
Well, that's
Like,
what
you know what I'm saying? Like our parents came here, but they came here with rules. And we were the first generation that was like, now this is who the fuck we are and this is how we act.
When did you realize that, you think?
I think right now during this conversation.
Because I had that same shit where like I would have friends all growing up, but there's some people I would try to hang out with, and like we had every reason to be friends,
But
and
it
we would
didn't work.
never click. And I'd like go kick it with them, and I'd be like, it's just not that fun. And then other people, and I didn't click until like a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, all my tightest friends growing up all had like similar experiences to that, where like they were kind of like on the outside a little, on the periphery of culture, kind of like observing it, like either like an immigrant parent or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. On the periphery, observing it. Even when I was in Spain, all my friends were expats, but not from America. It would be like a half black, half Spanish dude. You know what I mean? Like a Russian that just kind of like moved there. Everybody was kind of experiencing the culture. Like we're inside it. We're almost like spies. We're like inside the culture. Nobody really knows we're there. But at the same time, we're removed enough where we can kind of like observe it and like find the funny in it. You know, like you ever find yourself just observing what's going on? You're like, yo, is nobody else looking at this shit?
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
I think that's why you become a
I be
comic.
feeling sometimes that way around y'all, motherfucker.
For real.
Like, I just different, but I love it though. I just
But
different.
you probably felt different. So you're like, oh yeah, I can understand what it is.
yeah.
Like when you felt a little bit different, I think you kind of embrace somebody else's difference. Like that's why we would always kind of like take the kids that were picked on at school under our wing a little bit. Like we kind of protect them a bit because I think all of us knew what it was like to be different. And we had a coping mechanism. Like I guess we were able to be, cool or into sports or whatever it was. But we also saw that kid and it was like, nah, you're a little out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna make fun of you. Nobody else allowed to make fun of you, but we're gonna like kind of bring you on board.
Yeah, I used to pick on the dudes who used to bully.
Yeah,
Like I'll be the bully's bully. Like for some reason I always just pick up that role. And
You're
then
like
I'll be
Omar.
cool, and then I'll be cool with the nerds and shit like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, it's true though. Sometimes I see the kid that like was kind of like weird, kind of like the precipice of the group, and people would clown on him. And I was like, I feel sometimes what he feels like, but I just happen to have the skills and the tools to not get
work around it.
eviscerated.
Exactly,
But if
yeah.
I didn't have the skills, whether it's like being on like a sports team or like being funny, like I would be you. You know what I mean? Like
so you want to bring them in a little bit. You want to school them up, teach them
Yeah.
how to wear deodorant and shit. Why are they always
bro.
stunk?
I taught a kid how to shave in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Pubes?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. What are you shaving in high school?
It's like my ass is so itchy.
he didn't have no father at all.
Nah, he was like, Mark, I don't know what to do. He was like,
shut up
just
about that.
Why do you think Al's got such a thick beard? I'll teach you, Al. I will teach you, bro. We're going to the bathroom, Gillette. Okay, I got you. But yeah, I had to like tell him I had to like shave the mustache and the whole deal. And I like felt for him. I was like, yeah, he was outside the group and didn't know how to like fit in. I was like, oof. So I get it.
Man, that's fucking lit, dude. Maybe that's why we're so much more tolerant of different political views. Like maybe that's why the four of us can sit here and we can like have a nuanced take on things. It's not like we're any smarter than anybody like that. We're literally just like, yo, I grew up with so many different people that have come from so many different cultures that might have some really weird shit within their culture, but they're really good guys.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So like, I ain't gonna judge Chris Pratt for being part of this church that
Son,
might.
My best friend in elementary school used to try to convert me all the time because he literally, and he let go of it as he got older, but he was like, I was literally taught anybody who's not Christian is going to hell. So I thought I was doing
I love
you a
you.
favor.
Son, if you believe in God and you don't try to convert your friend, you don't love that motherfucker, bro.
So I look at the super Christian.
My boy
like,
sent me these books, these Christian books. He literally just like the reason for all these things. He had a little note in each one.
Yeah.
I didn't say thank you yet, but but like I love that kid now, man. Even if I don't read a single one of those books, that's his way of going, I fuck with you and I want you to go to heaven.
to bring it
That's a beautiful thing.
to bring it full circle to judging by best intentions.
Yeah.
They are trying to help you. We see it. The insecure part of ourselves is like, oh, fuck you trying to force me to convert, blah, blah, blah. You look at their intentions. Their intention is, I love this person. I've been taught he's going to hell for believing this
Yeah,
thing.
man.
I want to try to help this person.
Yeah.
And to try to dismantle that belief is dismantling the core belief of who they are.
Yes.
So it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Even if they're wrong, it's not going to be easy. They're trying to help you.
Yo, y'all notice Akash never tried to convert any of us?
None of us, bro, but he don't have hell though.
Wow.
He don't have hell though.
Yeah, Hindus
He
don't do
don't
that.
have
Oh, so we're
hell.
good?
though.
Yeah,
Nah,
but he
Hindus-
don't want us to have additional lives after we
Fuck,
Nah,
pass.
you
dog.
have that anyway. Hinduism is like, and this is one thing I like about it, every religion is valid. They basically say, like, we're all trying to get to the mountaintop. However, whatever path you take, as long as you get there, good.
Bro, you
Oh
might.
yeah, I like the
Yeah,
first losers over there.
What you say?
If you not saying your shit's number one,
you
you're
guys are
already
too-
admitting you
Kind of
lost.
slutty, bro. Like, not anyone can get it. Everyone's good with us.
We all, that's why hippies love us, man. We free love, yo. Everybody gets that dick sucked.
It can't be too free, bro. You guys at least pay like $1 for it or something. You know what I mean? Like,
If you don't pay, there's no value.
yeah, exactly.
Let
You're
me
just
tell you
giving.
something about Indians. We ain't coming unless it's free. So this one has
They
got
tried
to be.
to charge.
Yeah,
Give me
back
no
in the day.
fucking- Yo, if you try to get an Indian to convert that's Hindu and you say 10%, he'd be like, I'll give you 4. Let me talk to Jesus. Let me talk to your supervisor. Bring Jesus down. Let me talk to this guy.
I think I'm gonna propose tonight, bro. I'm in so much better a mood, dog. I think y'all really saved my marriage, man. Y'all done saved my marriage, bro.
Hey, yo, you're welcome, buddy.
Fuck, man.
I'm not gonna ruin it. I promise, bro.
Thank
I
you.
promise. You can count on me. I'm gonna get the bag and I'm gonna bring it.
I'm starting to mute calls from him. How do I do that? how do I make it on silent?
It's one of the
Specifically
volume
from Mark.
buttons.
I don't want to know nothing. I don't even want it to come to me.
Nah, it's all gonna be good.
I don't want to hear it.
Just
I'm gonna-
find it, Dave. Just swipe right and look at the little crescent moon. Just hit that.
That's what that
little
moon
thing.
is?
Yeah,
Man,
solid that.
I'm also
dude,
gonna.
I
I'm gonna
remember
bring.
back in the day, bro. This girl, for some reason, I mooned a girl by accident. This girl used to come over
On a Zoom call.
way back in the day. Not on Zoom. It was way before Zoom, but I mooned her, and I didn't know what moon was. I thought she mooned me. So she would come over, and she'd just be downstairs calling and texting, and I just would never get the fucking alerts.
You're talking about silence him on the phone, not
Yeah, the moon.
showing your ass to her.
No, not showing my ass.
Wait,
but
what?
like this girl just
so
be
confused.
downstairs.
I thought you showed your ass. To
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you think mooning was? That you thought
bro.
she was mooning you
I
by
mooned
looking
her
at your
by
ass?
accident. I didn't know how to do it, but the thing was mooned. I thought she mooned me. I was like, oh, she don't like to be disturbed. Like this girl don't like to be disturbed for text messages. She just be downstairs calling away in the fucking pouring ass rain, coming over for a boutique call. But that shit was mooned. You know what I mean? But then I figured that out now.
Did you show her your ass or not? I don't know. what's
Nah,
happening.
she's seen my ass, bro. You gotta see it to look at.
that shit mad Hindu. Bro.
You gotta look at.
Target the
Look.
bag.
Drew's the
Ah,
person
good.
you got to teach how to shave that ass.
Oh,
That's the
tough,
person
yeah.
needs some help.
So you know how I know I'm proposing tonight? Shaved my pecker last night. Shaved up that pecker.
You just got to put the ring on your dick. Just be like, will you marry me?
Come on, Zay. I'm too big for that, bro. You can't fit no engagement ring. You got an engagement Hindu, whatever that is. What's that shit called? Kata? You got an engagement punjab?
Oh, fuck.
You just sling
Yo,
that
that's lit. Put the kata on your neck.
shit. That's
The bangle on your dangle.
on your dangle. Oh man! Bro, I'm so excited for tonight, dude. This is my big night.
You know what, man? This is one of those episodes I wish we could share with the people, man.
I know. It's a good one.
You know what I mean? By the way, anybody listening right now,
What?
What do you mean share with the people?
like this one of those episodes that I wish that like
Oh,
people who don't know
on the
about the
full,
flagrancy, they don't know
yeah.
about flagrant 2, they could experience it, because I think it's like it's just very nourishing, this whole episode. It's like laughs, but also some kind of serious conversation. This is exactly what we do well, I think. And I love that we get to share it, obviously, with the patrons. But it's one of those things where, like, if somebody has never listened to us before and they could listen to that conversation,
They get it.
they might be very impactful for them.
Yeah.
There's some of those things you want to share. Sometimes you have conversations you just want to share.
Yeah.
That is the cool thing about podcasting is how many convos that we have with like interesting people in our lives that we go and then like recap those convos to other people. You know, you're like, man, I was talking to this dude. He had these great points about this or blah, blah, blah. Like with podcasting, you actually literally get to share those with people, man. Yeah, that was cool. I feel like I learned a little bit more about myself today. Or at least why, you know, we're friends.
Yeah, I'll bill you.
Word up.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
And also like why I'm not friends with certain people. Yeah. Wait, like you were saying, Mark, like why there are certain people like, hey, everything adds up. We should be able to kick it, but it don't work. And now it's starting to make sense. And I used to probably look at that as a reflection of me back in the day. Like when it didn't work with someone, I was like, what am I doing wrong or something? And I think as I started to get older and maybe that confidence thing, I was just like, man, it is what it is, bro.
You just don't click. You're
We're
not
not
going to get
supposed to
along
be-
with everybody.
Yeah, you don't got to get along with everybody.
Yo, my best friend's dad always told him, you're never going to have more friends than you can count on one hand. And I think it's a little different now because we can keep in touch with Facebook and all that shit and text and calls, but like there's a lot to that. Like you're not going to be friends with everybody. It might be 8, 9, 10 or whatever, but you're not going to have that many real true friends in your life. They're going to drop off somehow or another. And then as you get older, it's no hard feelings. It's like, that wasn't it.
Yeah.
It syncs up or it don't. And if it don't, that's fine.
Yeah, it is fine.
One hand is a little tight though, but
Yeah. He was a one-hand dude, though. It's a quiet, strong, like, fucking construction working motherfucker that's just like, you know what I mean? 6 friends. What are you, gay? Come on, bro.
he's got 4 brothers or some shit. You're like, ugh, I might not be on that hand.
You just watch a clip from our weekly Patreon episode. You can support the flagrancy. You can support this unapologetic, unfiltered, uncensored content that we drop weekly on our Patreon at patreon.com/flagrant2. You want to go join? You should, because it's the top 10 Patreon in the fucking world. That's right, for good reason. Go check out why at patreon.com/flagrant2. All right, peace.